Mataji, please accept my Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving your very wonderful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Supriya, Sham Supriya's mother Sucharya. Thank you so much for your association.
Hare Krishna, Sucharya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for each and every day giving your very wonderful and beautiful association, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
It says your name is Supriya Sirangi. Is that?
Yeah, my Karmi name, Mataji. My Karmi name.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Are there any devotees who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Sham Supriya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving your very beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirtida Sundari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving your very precious association this morning, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, shall we start Bhagavad Gita, Mataji, chapter 12?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, okay, Mataji. Okay, so
yeah, Mataji, 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, anybody would like to volunteer for 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita?
Are we just reading the verses or the translations?
Just verses, Mataji.
Oh, we're not reading the English?
Yes, it is showing on the screen. Can you see, Mataji?
I've got my book. Can I just read from my book?
Yes, Mataji, absolutely fine. Just verses, Mataji. That's it.
Starting with the first verse?
Arjuna Uvacha.
But isn't it better to read the English so we know what we're saying?
We are reading in English, Mataji.
Oh, okay. Arjuna inquired.
Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, sorry to stop you. Mataji, as part of Kartik month, we are doing just the verses, Mataji, not the purport and translation.
Oh, not the translation. Okay. Arjuna Uvacha Evam Satata Yukta Ye Bhaktas Tvam Paryupasate Ye Chapyak Saram Afyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vitatmaha. Text 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Mayavesha Mano Yemam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shradhaya Parayopetas Te me yukta tamamataha Ye tveyaksharam anirdesyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra kam achintyam cha kutastam achalam dhruvam saniyam yendriyakramam sarvatra samabhutaya te pranu Bantimam eva sarvabhuta hite rataha klesho vikaratas tesham avyakta sakrachetasam avyakta hi katir dukam dehavādir avaptate. Text 6 and 7. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samudarta ritu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat parta maya veshita chetasam. Text 8. Mayave Maiva mana adastva Mai buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi maeva ata urdvam na samshaya. Text 9. Ata jittam samaditum na saknoshi maishtiram abhyasya yogena tato mam ichan uttam dhananjaya. Text 10. Abhyase pya sarmotis abhyase pya asamartosi mat karma paramo bhava mad artam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapyasi. Text 11. Ataitad api ashoktosi kartum mad yogam asritaha sarva karma palam tyagam tata kuru yatatmavan shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnanam vishishyate jnanat karma pala tyagas jajak jantir anantaram. Text 13 and 14. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukha shami Shantushta satatam yogi yatatma dhritanishchaya mayarpita mano buddhir yomad bhakta same priyaha. Text 15. Yasman no dvichate loka no dvichate shaya arsam sara bayodvegar muktoya sa chame priyaha. Anapeksha suchir daksha udashino gata vyataha sarvaramba parityagi yomad bhakta same priyaha. Text 17. Yonaha no ya yona hrisyati na dveshti na sochati na kankshati subha parityagi bhaktimam ya same priyaha. Text 18-19. Samasartro cha mitre cha tamanaya sitoshna sukadukeshu samasanga vivarchitaha tulya nindastutir moni santushto yena kenachit aniketa stira matir bhaktimame priyo naraha. Text 20. Ye tu dharmam ritam idam ito tam paryupasate shraddhadana mat parama bhaktaste tivame priyaha.
Jai, wonderful Mataji. Thank you so much, Mother Sucharya, for reading this Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter. Thank you so much. Now we will move on to our next part. That is our Hare Krishna. So I welcome all the devotees to our Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call of our teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And today we are very fortunate to have with us Her Grace Kirtida Mataji to enlighten on the topic of teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And the verse number goes, chapter 11. Hare Krishna, Kirtida Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving your very precious time and association and enlightening on the chapter 11, Mataji. Now I hand out the call to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Shama Supriya Mataji, and thank you so much, Sucharya Mataji, for your beautiful, beautiful recitation of chapter number 12. Thank you. Thank you, Supriya Mataji, Shama Supriya Mataji. Thank you for warmly welcoming everybody. So, okay, let's start with our ongoing series of Sri Chaitanya, teachings of Lord Sri Chaitanya, which is actually the condensed study of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, so first of all, thank you all so much for your consistent presence. So seeing all your presence really inspires me. So we'll get started now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatra Deshatharine Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhuva evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalum pangum langayate girim yat kripaha tamham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Guruve Gaura Chandrai Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tat Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Anand Leela Maya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So Hare Krishna dear devotees, before we start I would like to beg for all of your prayers, your wishes, your blessings so that I can speak something relevant to this subject matter. It's theoretically it's very easy to understand today's subject matter, but practically it's a long way to go, especially for me. So today, whatever I'll be speaking, maybe just forgive me because I may not be able to walk my talk, but because it's a service, so I accepted it. So I really pray all of you to please shower your blessings. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu vacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our session of teachings of Lord Chaitanya, where Mahaprabhu is instructing Srila Sanatan Goswami. So teachings of Chaitanya, the book is actually the condensed of not the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, but just the instructions that Mahaprabhu gave. Mahaprabhu gave it to Rupa Goswami, to Sanatan Goswami, to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, so, or some, conversation of Rai Ramananda. But mainly it is dealing with the teachings of Sanatan Goswami, the teachings to Sanatan Goswami, I should say, sorry. Because in the start of the first chapter, we saw about Rupa Goswami, and then Prabhupada just dedicated a single page, and then he moved on to Sanatan Goswami, because the teachings of Rupa Goswami is the entire nectar of devotion. So it's very hard, to condense this entire nectar of devotion, because that itself is a separate study. So then Prabhupada started telling about the teachings to Sanatan Goswami. So we saw that how Mahaprabhu is very, systematically, he's taking Sanatan Goswami to various aspects to attain Lord Shri Krishna. So he explained, the Krishna's different forms, his unlimited forms, his avatars, and how Krishna expands into various universes. And then he described about the three Vishnus. And then we have discussed in detail, in length, about the whole, the chart of how the four quadruple comes and Narayan comes, then the second quadruple comes, then the different avatars comes. But after describing the entire unlimited forms of Lord Shri Krishna, then Lord Chaitanya explained the opulence of Lord Shri Krishna. So that also we read. But after describing the opulence, he went to the beauty of Krishna. Yes, if somebody has a very opulent, wealthy, rich friend, that friend definitely is proud that, my master or my friend is very opulent. But at the same time, if the sweetness is there, then it makes a huge lot of difference. Actually, if we have a sweet friend, may not be that friend is opulent, but if the friend is very sweet, then, we consider us to be very fortunate. But here our Supreme Lord, who is our best well-wisher, is not only opulent, but is also very sweet. It's very, very sweet. And we dealt yesterday about the sweetness of the Lord. But now, after describing, the opulence and sweetness, so which sane man wouldn't be attracted towards Lord Krishna? Definitely everybody would love to attain. So now in this chapter, Mahaprabhu will tell Sanatan Goswami what are the ways through which we can attain Lord Shri Krishna. What is the way? And if anybody, I hope people can mute themselves, or not, then maybe you can type in the chat, what do you all think that what is the best way to attain Lord Shri Krishna? We'll just give few seconds. You can just type it in the chat if you cannot unmute. That what is the best way through which you can attain Lord Shri Krishna? Yes, love him.
Serving him.
Awesome. Yes, service, bhakti. And Prabhupada has always stressed on this point of bhakti. So in Bhagavad Gita, there's so many places where the words bhaktya or bhakti comes. And if you read the translation, the English translation, then Prabhupada always explain this bhakti as devotional service. Service. When we love somebody, we want to serve that person, isn't it? So how important it is that we should serve Lord Shri Krishna. So therefore, Mahaprabhu says that the only process to attain Lord Shri Krishna is through devotional service. And then Mahaprabhu says, well, Sanatan Goswami, this is not that I'm just saying out of my whim. No, this is actually the entire Vedic literature, all the Vedas, whether they are Shruti Shastras, Smriti Shastras, or any Shastras you can take forward, all the Vedic literatures, they proclaim that without doing devotional service unto Lord Shri Krishna, one cannot attain him. So actually, I'm not go to this entire chapter the way it is stated in teachings of Lord Chaitanya. I'll quote few verses because this chapter is actually the condensed form of chapter number 22 from Madhya Leela, which entitles the process of devotional service. So the entire chapter is being summarized by Prabhupada in this 11th chapter, which is service to the Lord. So coming back, so Mahaprabhu says that, oh Sanatana, this is not that I'm just saying, it's actually the verdict of this entire Vedic literature. And he says, Krishna Bhakti Abhidaya Sarva Shastra Kai Ataheva Muni Gana So he's saying the Abhidaya, we know that we have the entire philosophy, the Gaudiya philosophy revolves around the three things. That is Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. Sambandha is to get established a relationship with the Supreme Lord. But then how to strengthen that relationship, what activities we should perform so that we can come on to the level where we develop and at the same time strengthen that relationship with the Supreme Lord. That process is Abhidaya, right? And finally, Prayojana. What is the Prayojana? Which is the ultimate goal. Why we are establishing that relationship, what process we are following, and why we are following the process to attain the goal, which is Prayojana, which is love of Godhead. So what Sambandha? Krishna Sambandha we have. And then Bhakti Abhidaya. And then Prem Prayojana. So this is the entire philosophy. And here Mahaprabhu says that Abhidaya is Krishna Bhakti. Not just Bhakti, but it's Krishna Bhakti. And this is Mahaprabhu is proclaiming Sarva Shastra Kai. Not only me, the entire Shastras is saying this. And also, not only the Shastras, Ataiva Muni Gana, all saintly person have also concluded this, that without performing devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, we cannot attain him. So in the previous chapters, we have covered about the different, that Krishna has different expansions, right? If anyone of you remember, then there were Swamsa expansions, then there are Vibhinamsa expansions. The Swamsa expansions are like his personal expansions, like Chaturvuya, and Vibhinamsa is his separated expansions. So this Vibhin Amsha, his Amsha, his part and parcel only, but little different, Vibhin, right? It's not Swayamsha, but it is Vibhin Amsa, his separated expansions. And they are known as Jiva Tattvas, or we, the living entities. So then Mahaprabhu explains that this living entity can be further classified accordingly to which, they are under, to which Lord's energies they are under. Like if somebody is under the spiritual energy, then the same Jiva Tattva is under the Yoga Maya, but there are few Jiva Tattvas who are under Mahamaya, right? But Jiva Tattva itself is under marginal, it's Tathastha Shakti, marginal energy. And that is why this Jiva Tattva is known as marginal Tattva, marginal energy, or Tathastha Shakti, because they have the freedom to whether be under the control of Yoga Maya, Krishna's spiritual energy, or we have this privilege to accept that we can be under Mahamaya, or Krishna's external energy. So this is the free will that is being given to this living entities, and they are the deciding factor where they, like what master they want, whether they want to be under Yoga Maya or whether they want to be under Mahamaya. So he says that jivas are of two categories, Eka Nitya Mukta and Eka Nitya Samsara. So what are the two? Eka Nitya. Nitya Mukta means those who are eternally liberated. And Nitya Samsara means those who are eternally conditioned. So those who are eternally liberated, they are known as Nitya Muktas. And they are always aware of their Krishna consciousness. They are always eager to render some loving service unto the Supreme Lord. And they are also the eternal associates of Krishna. And they are eternally enjoying the transcendental bliss in serving Krishna. Yes, they do come to this material existence, but their coming into material existence is only by the will of Krishna, by the sweet will of Krishna, because Krishna sent them to perform certain activity. The best example is our dear Srila Prabhupada and all our Guru Vargas. They have been specially chosen by the Supreme Lord to go to the material world and deliver the conditioned souls, right? So they are Nitya Muktas. They are Nitya Muktas. They are eternally liberated personalities. They are the real associates of Lord Shri Krishna. But they come here because to fulfill the sweet supreme will of Lord. But those who are eternally conditioned, people like me, always what we do is we turn away from Lord Shri Krishna. We turn away from the service of the Lord. We are eternally conditioned in this material world. And thus, what we are subjected to, what can be expected to be in this Dukhalayam is Dukha. Because this is recognized, this place is recognized as Dukhalayam. So what can we expect? From Dukhalayam, you cannot expect happiness. So this place is Dukhalayam, and therefore those who reside, those conditioned souls who are residing in this place, they are naturally subjected to material turbulations, which can be brought forward by either, you can say, Tapatraya, that is threefold miseries. So what are these? They are Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik. And not only that, these are all externals, but conditioned soul is also subjected to the various enemies of the heart, which is lust, anger, greed, pride, false ego, fault finding, so many, right? So they always are subjected to all these kinds of problems, and they are always eternally in this material world. And what is the destination they achieve? Nothing. Going up, down, up, down. That's the only thing that happens to them. So they transmigrate in this entire universe in the three in three planetary systems. Sometimes they'll be in upper planetary systems, sometimes they will be in the middle planetary systems, sometimes they will be in the lower planetary systems. So they will transmigrate themselves into these three planetary systems in 8,400,000 types of species, and ultimately they'll be bound in this world, in this universe. But does it mean that they will never get a chance to come closer to Krishna? So when Lord Chaitanya is telling this to Sanatan Goswami, so naturally Sanatan Goswami has a question, has a doubt in his heart. So that means those who are in this world, they are eternally bound, they are nitya baddha. So that means they'll never get a chance to go out of this world. Their destination will always be transmigrating in these three materially planetary systems. But then Mahaprabhu says, no, we have the chance. How? Brahmande brahmite jive, kaun bhagyavan jiva, Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata bija. Mahaprabhu says that when this conditioned soul somehow or other comes in contact of a pure devotee, and then after coming in contact with the pure devotee, render some service unto him, and not only render some service, but also follow the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master, then what happened? That seed of devotional service, that seed of bhakti is implanted in the heart of that conditioned soul. And now the conditioned soul gets a chance to perform various other devotional services to nurture that seed, so that that seed can take a form of a sapling, then a plant, and then a tree, and then bear some flowers, and then bear some fruits, and then offer those fruits to Lord Shri Krishna's lotus feet. So this is how then the conditioned soul nurture that seed. But that seed has to be implanted in the heart of that conditioned soul. And that can only be possible when that person, when that conditioned soul, when that jiva comes in contact of a pure devotee and renders some devotional service. If not physically, then at least follow the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master. Then that seed is implanted. Right? At that time, the conditioned soul should not think that, okay, now that seed is planted, but let me go on my useless nonsense sense gratification. No, the conditioned soul should choose the right path, because that time that free will has been, it has to come into execution. The free will has to come because he has to choose whether to nurture that seed or let that seed be in that heart and there be there forever, and then finally dies away. Right? So it's up to us. Gaur Gopal Prabhu always used to say that there is a C between B and D. So between birth and death, at every moment of our life, we get this opportunity to make a choice, to make a right choice, either to make a Krishna conscious choice or to make a sense gratification choice, right? But if we make a Krishna conscious choice, then yes, through making that choice, we do certain services, and this way we nurture our seed. So any service we do for the Supreme Lord, for his devotees, for our spiritual masters, whatever service we do, yes, that service gives us happiness, that service gives us bliss, but at the same time, our seed is also nurtured, and our seed comes into form of a plant, of a sapling, of a plant or a tree, it gets nurtured properly. So that time, the conditioned soul should make a right choice to give up all the materialistic things like lust, anger, pride, greed. They should just give up. And if it cannot be given up, at least we can dovetail it towards Krishna's service. Like lust can be dovetailed, anger can be dovetailed, pride also can be dovetailed, greed can also be dovetailed. We can have that spiritual greed, that laulyam to serve Lord Shri Krishna. So everything can be dovetailed unto Krishna's service. And then finally, we should surrender unto Supreme Lord, the Master. And we should pray. What we should pray? When we chant, what is the meaning of chanting? When we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada says, at that time when we are chanting, we are simply requesting Hare Krishna, Rama, we are requesting the divine couple to please engage me into their loving devotional service. So when we are chanting, the only prayer that we should have is to please engage me into your service. And that is what is devotional service. The start and the end of our devotional service begins from chanting, ends to chanting, because chanting is the sadhana, is the process, but is also the sadhya, is also the goal, is the abhidaya, and is the prayojana. So doing devotional service is very, very important. And it's only through that an eternally conditioned jiva, a nitya baddha, can also uplift and come closer to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then Mahaprabhu says, yes, there are some people who follow the other processes of self-realization. Some are into karma yoga, some are into jnana yoga, some are into dhyana yoga. But all these are secondary. These are not important. The only process important is devotional service, which is the chief of all the processes. And all this jnana, your karma, your dhyana, everything actually depends on bhakti. Everything depends upon bhakti. And then he says that without devotional service, ei sava sadhanera. Sadhanera means the methods of attaining self-realizations. Ati tuchha bala. Ei sava sadhanera ati tuchha bala. Krishna bhakti vina taha dite nara phala. So what Mahaprabhu is saying, ei sava sadhanera, rest all other processes, jnana marga, bhakti, this karma marga, dhyana marga, all these processes are tuchha bhala, are very, very insignificant. Very, very insignificant. Krishna bhakti vina tahe dite nara phala. And if there is no, unless and until one comes to the realization of performing some devotional service, all these jnana, yoga, they are not going to give any desired results. So therefore, Mahaprabhu says the best and the chief of entire processes of self-realization is bhakti, is performing devotional service. Savai pumsa parodharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahituki apratihata yayatma suprasiditi. What is the supreme occupation? The parodharma, that is to do some devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. Bhaktir adhokshaja, that adhokshaja, that Lord, performing some devotional service unto him is the supreme ultimate occupation of all the jivas, of the entire humanity. And what kind of devotional service? Ahituki apratihata. It should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. So performing that kind of devotional service, then yes, one can attain Lord Shri Krishna. And that is actually the chief of all the processes. And then Mahaprabhu, he always follow. We have read the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Mahaprabhu quote few verses and then he establishes the pramana, for all those verses, that how important it is to understand. And those praman he always take from Srimad Bhagavatam. Their existence, their importance, is always taken from Srimad Bhagavatam. So similarly, when here Mahaprabhu is saying that actually all those processes are insignificant as compared to devotional service, then Mahaprabhu quotes one of the beautiful verse of Lord Brahma. I'll not quote, I'll just say the translation, where Lord Brahma in his prayers after Brahma Vimohana Leela, he prays to Lord Krishna and says, "O Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path. And if someone gives up that path and engage in other processes like knowledge or speculation, what will they do? They will simply undergo troublesome process and will not achieve the desired results. Their prayojana will not be fulfilled because they will be undergoing troublesome processes. Just as a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, no matter how he eats, how he beats hard. So if we keep on beating an empty husk of grain, are we getting the grain? No, because it's already devoid of grain. So no matter how hard you beat that husk, you will not get the desired result. You will not get the grain. So all other processes are troublesome processes. But if somebody follow the process of bhakti, well, that's going to take us to our eternal prayojana. Rest all the processes are what? Shama eva kevalam. There are only the troublesome process. What gain we will get is trouble. And in this regard, Bilva Mangal Thakur also prays in the same line that, "O Lord, if one engages in your pure devotional service, but with determination, then what happened? You become visible to them. You become visible to them in your youthful form." And that's what we want. We want to see Krishna in his youthful form, in his ever 16-year-old Nav Yauvanam form. That's why we all aspire to go to Golok Vrindavan, right? Because we want to see the Supreme Lord in his ever youthful form. But if someone engages in devotional service with determination, then the Supreme Lord in his ever youthful form becomes visible to them. And as far as other process of liberation is concerned, like Sarupya Mukti, Sashti, thank you. So other processes like attaining different types of liberation. Bilva Mangal Thakur says, Mukti Soyam Mukulantajali Sevate Sman. Mukti, liberation herself, Mukulitanjali, like folding hands, Anjali, it's folding hands. So Mukti herself, she stands before the devotee with folded hands, waiting to render some service unto that devotee. So therefore, Bilva Mangal Thakur says that devotees, they don't even aspire for any kind of liberation. What they want is devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. Then Mahaprabhu continues that actually because this jiva has forgotten his constitutional position. And what is the constitutional position of every jiva is? Jivere Sarupa Hoy Nitya Krishna Das, that they are always the eternal servant of Lord Shri Krishna. But those who have forgotten, what happened to them? Maya bound the neck of that jiva by the chain, and make him bound in this material world. That's what Mahaprabhu says. So he says that those who have forgotten their constitutional position with Krishna, then Maya comes into picture and she bounds the neck of that devotee and makes sure that the devotee is entangled in this dukhalayam, in this material existence. And this Maya is not ordinary. Then Mahaprabhu says, don't think that this Maya is ordinary. He says, Daivi Esha hi gunamai mama maya durattaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. He says, this Maya, don't consider, yes, it's an external energy of Krishna, but it is Daivi. It belongs to the Supreme Lord. It is Daivi, it's divine. And it is Gunamai. It is made up of all the three modes: passion, goodness, and ignorance. And then Krishna doesn't stop there. Krishna says, Mama Maya, it's my Maya. It belongs to me. It's my external energy. So something that belongs to Krishna, how can that be ordinary? The devotee of Krishna is not ordinary because the devotee belongs to Krishna. Krishna has the sole proprietorship over them. So when Krishna says that this divine energy is mine, it's Mama Maya, it's mine. So how can it be ordinary? So we should not take Mahamaya as an ordinary personality. Definitely she is not. She belongs to Krishna. She is divine. And therefore it's very durattaya. It is very, very difficult to cross over because she is working under the instructions and directions which is laid down by Lord Shri Krishna. But then Krishna himself gives the solution also. Now don't worry. Yes, it is divine. Yes, it is mine. It is made up of all the three modes and it is very, very difficult to cross over. But don't get disheartened. He gives the solution also. And he says, Mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. But those surrender unto me, well, they can easily cross beyond this Maya. For them, Maya is nothing. Rather, for them, Maya helps the devotee to cross this material existence. Because then she becomes favorable to that devotee because that devotee has 100% surrender unto Lord Shri Krishna. Krishna Nitya Dasa Jiva Taha Bhuli Gela Ei Doshe Maya Tara Galaya Bandhila. So he's quoting that the living entity is actually bound around the neck by the chain of Maya. Why? Because Ei Dosha. It's only because of one problem. Maya, that Krishna Nitya Dasa Bhuli Gela, that he has forgotten that he is eternally a servant of Lord Shri Krishna. And then he says, what happened then next? How can you come out of this? Is to surrender unto Lord Shri Krishna, and not only to Lord Shri Krishna, then who else? Tate Krishna bhaje kare guru rasevana, maya jala chute pae Krishna racharana. that this conditioned soul should do Krishna bhajan, should always be engaged in the service of Lord. But at the same time, Guru Rasevana should also follow or serve the spiritual master and also carries out his instructions. See, there are two ways in which you can follow the instructions. One is the Vapu Seva and the Vani Seva. So Vani Seva is that you are following the instructions, and Vapu Seva is when you carry out physically with your own body, you help the spiritual master, right? So that is the Vapu Seva. But both are important. So he says, Kare Gurura Sevana. Yes, you should serve your spiritual master, and at the same time, you should follow his instructions. And spiritual master, what is his position? He is the representative of the Supreme Lord. In the start of class also, we discussed that he is actually eternally liberated personality, but he came for us on the will of the Supreme Lord, that you go and deliver this conditioned soul. So what we should do is Krishna bhaje kare Guru Rasevana. Then what happens? Maya jala chute. We get out of this clutches of Maya. And what is the destination? Pai Krishnera Charana. And we attain, we become eligible, not attain, I should say, but we become eligible for the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So it is very, very important. But then Sanatan Goswami says that what about, okay, you talked about eternally conditioned souls and how they can be liberated. But what about those who are following their Vaishnava dharma properly? Those who are Brahmanas are following their Brahminical order. Those who are Kshatriyas are also following their Kshatriya. The Shudras are well behaved and the Vaishyas are carrying out their orders. What about those? Then Mahaprabhu says, Chari varna shami yadi Krishna nahi bhaje, swakarma karite se raurava bhadi maje. Then he says, yes, those varnashram system, those Chari Varnashrami, those who are into that Varnashram institution, and they follow the regulative principles of entire four social orders, that is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. They are very nicely following with entire regulative principles. But however, if they are not involved in Krishna bhajan, then, they will not, if they don't render this transcendental service, their swakarma, if they don't dovetail their swakarma unto Lord Shri Krishna, Raurava Padimaje, then they are entitled to attain the hellish planets. So this is also Sanatan Goswami makes it clear through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that some says, well, what's the point of performing devotional service? I follow my regulative principles because I follow a varnashrama system, a very regulated lifestyle I have. There is no use of those regulated lifestyle if that regulated lifestyle is not used for Krishna service. Chari varna ashrami yadi Krishna nahi bhaje. After following the four regulative principles of Varnashrama institution, if you are not doing Krishna bhajan and you are not dovetailing your activities, like Vaishyas, if they don't dovetail their activities to Krishna, Kshatriyas, they just out of whim, they perform their activities and don't keep Krishna in the center. Brahmanas don't keep Krishna in the center. Then they are entitled for the hellish condition of material life. There is no gain. Then Sanatan Goswami, he asked, okay, my Lord, till now it's clear. But what about those Brahmavadis, those Mayavadis, those impersonalists who consider themselves to be one with the God, or they consider themselves to be liberated? Are they not actually liberated? Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu points out for them also. He says, yes, those impersonalists, they consider themselves to be one with God. They consider themselves that they are liberated, but they are actually not liberated. And then he gives pramar from Srimad Bhagavatam only, and he says, Ye anya arvindaksha vimuktamaninas tvai ashta bhavat avishuddha buddhaya aruya krichena param padam tatam patanti adho nadrita yushmadangrihe He says, if they have no dedication to Arvindaksha, to the lotus feet, Yushmad Angriha, the lotus feet. Angriha means the lotus feet. And that lotus feet, how it is Arvind, it is a lotus feet. It's not an ordinary. So that definitely it says about Lord Shri Krishna. And Arvind Aksha, his eyes are also lotus. Those who are Vimuktamaninas, those who don't consider or defy the supremacy and sweetness of Lord Krishna, then they are Avishuddha Buddhya. They are the people of poor fund of knowledge or poor fund of intelligence. Right? And no matter Aruya Krichena, no matter how many austerities, how many penances they perform, and they may attain the Parampadam, that is the Brahma Jyoti, which also is in the spiritual world. And they think that, wow, now they are liberated. But no, patanti adho, they again fall down. Why? Because anadrita, they have done another. They have rejected the Yushmad, his angriha, his lotus feet. So Mahaprabhu says that even those who think that they are liberated, and they may perform any austerities, any penances, but still, and they may actually achieve, they think themselves that they have achieved to Brahman realization, but they again fall down. Why? Because they neglect the worship of the Supreme Lord, Lord Shri Krishna. So then Mahaprabhu continues, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Adhikara, Ya Jaha Krishna Taha Nehi Mayara Adhikara. He says, Jaha Krishna Taha Nehi Mayara Adhikara. So Maya is energy of Krishna, but she is behind Krishna. So if somebody is in the face of Krishna, then they will not see the face of Maya. But if somebody forget the face of Krishna comes around, then they will see only Maya and then they'll not see Krishna, right? So Krishna Surya Sama, Krishna is like a sun. Maya is like a andhakar, is like a darkness. And Jaha Krishna, Taha Nahi Mayadikar. We all know when the sun is there is no possibility of darkness. Because what is darkness? Is the absence of light, right? So when the sun is shining, then there is no darkness. Similarly, when Krishna is there, then definitely there will be no illusion. There is no influence of external energy. There is no Maya at all. And then Mahaprabhu gives a very classic verse, and he says that, this verse, if everybody recites it, that's it, that they can bind Krishna in that bhakti pash, right? And what is that verse? And this verse we can always remember while we are doing our chanting also. So he says, Krishna tomara hana yadi bala ek bara maya banda haite Krishna tare kare para. He says, Krishna tomara hana, O Lord Shri Krishna, I am just says, I am yours. Tavasmi. Yadi bale ek bara. Yadi even once if somebody says, oh Krishna, I am yours. That's it. Krishna gets bound with that bhakti pash. And when Krishna is there, Maya banda haite. The clutches of Maya gets loosened up. And there is no scope where Maya can attack that devotee. Because that devotee has surrendered to Krishna. And Krishna says, Yadi bale ek bara, even if once you say, I am yours. Please accept me, Krishna. From time immemorial, I have been wandering in this place, in this material existence. I have wasted so many lifetimes by ignoring you. But now I have come in contact with your pure devotee. Now I know that whatever I have done was simply a waste of time. I know that my past is not good, but please accept me the way I am. Whatever heinous performances I have done in my past life, please forgive those. Don't consider that. Yogyata becharo kuch hi nahi payo. Tumhara Karuna Sara, I'm just made up of your mercy, O Gurudev, like we sing, right? So we can pray, I'm just made up of your mercy, O Krishna. If you see my eligibility, you will not find anything. So please forget about that. Just accept me the way I am. And today onwards, I'm saying, O Krishna, I am yours. Please accept me. I am yours. Accept me. Then Mahaprabhu says, the moment that person, that jiva, that conditioned souls accepts this, he binds Krishna in that bhakti pash, and Krishna is always there, always sitting on the tip of his toes, on the edge of that cliff, to come running and protect that devotee, and take that devotee back home, back to Godhead. And then Mahaprabhu gives the praman, and this time he gives praman from Ramayana in the Yuddha Kand, where when Vibhishan was approaching and everybody was telling Lord Ram that we should not trust him. After all, he is a person from enemy's side. But Lord Ramachandra says, Sakrit eva prapannayas tavasmi iti yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etat pratam mama. That it is my vow that only if once somebody seriously surrender unto me and just say that, my dear Lord, from this day onwards, I am yours. Tavasmiti iti yachate. Just to one, he says, I am yours, I am yours, I am yours, Lord Ram or Lord Krishna, and praise to me, then I shall abhayam sarvada tasmai. I will immediately give courage to that person, and he will remain safe from that time on, because personally, Krishna or Lord Ram comes and intervenes. But those who follow the other processes of bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, well, for them, there is no hope at all. But then, Sanatan Goswami asks, that, okay, so that means that we should approach Krishna only to engage us in the service. But what about others who may have some material desires? Should they also go to Krishna, or they should not at all worry about all that? Then Mahaprabhu says, yes, everybody may not be on that level where we just ask Krishna to please engage me into your devotional service. We may have some material desires also. Then Mahaprabhu says, yes, instead of going to anybody else, knock the door of your spiritual father. And who is that? Lord Shri Krishna. And then he says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Whether you have a desire, whether you don't have a desire, whether you desire liberation or anything that you desire, what you should do is Tivrena bhakti yogena, very diligently, intelligently, you should render service unto the Supreme Lord only. And then he will take care. Anyakami yadi kare Krishnera bhajana, namagite Krishna tare dena swacharana. Then Mahaprabhu says that actually those who want to enjoy this material enjoyment, yes, they can go ahead and take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna only. They should approach Lord Shri Krishna only. But then what Lord Shri Krishna will do? Will he fulfill all the desires of the person who approaches? No. Then he says, then Mahaprabhu actually he says that Krishna kahe ama bhaja mage vishya sukha amrita chadi visha mage e bada murkha. Then Krishna says, oh no, this person is engaging in my loving devotional service, and instead of asking something higher, this person is again asking me something material. So he's simply wasting his time. And Amrita Chadi, he's leaving the pot of nectar and he is asking for Vishaya Sukha, the poison of material enjoyment. He is asking that Vishaya Sukha. So Krishna says, oh, he is Bada Murkha. He is foolish because he doesn't know. It's just like going to a billionaire and asking for him $10 donation. No, he's a billionaire. He can give you a lot more. So therefore, Krishna says that they are fool. But still Mahaprabhu says, still you go ahead. go ahead and knock the door of Krishna only. Don't go any other place. Do devotional service. If you have some material enjoyment, go and knock the door of Krishna. But then Krishna says, I know they are murkha. I know that, they are coming to me for a wrong thing. They should ask something higher, and they're still asking that material sukha. In this regard, I just remember, there is one story that the lady was carrying a heap of the wooden logs on her head, and it was very difficult. And every time she'll drop, and again she has to pick up, and again she has to put it on her head, and then she again walk for a few steps, and then again she'll drop. Finally, the fifth time when she dropped that huge heap of log, then she said, oh, hey Bhagavan, I cannot do anything. So she just called out helplessly, and Krishna appeared, and he said, yes, what can I do for you? And then she said, can you help me in putting this entire log on my head? So what can you say about that lady? She's murkha. Krishna is there. Ask for something higher, liberation from this material, vimoksha, vimukti, liberation from this entire cycle of birth and death. But she's asking what? Can you help me picking up this entire log and keep on my head back? So Krishna says, yes, those are murkha, those who are coming. But Krishna says, Ami vignai murkha vishya dena ke swacharanamrita diya vishaya bulaiva. But Krishna says, well, they are murkha, but I am intelligent. I am intelligent. I am, after all, supreme person. So I know the heart desire of that person. So why should I fulfill the desire of that foolish materialistic person? I'll not, because that person is surrender unto me. So what shall I do? That I should give him the nectar of my lotus feet. I would give him a nectar of my lotus feet and make him forget all the illusory material enjoyment. So that's why Mahaprabhu says that even if you have material enjoyment, that desire for material enjoyment, don't knock any other door. Knock the door of Lord Shri Krishna only, because he knows what to give and what not to give, what is conducive for your spiritual growth and what is not. So 100% surrenderance should be there unto Lord Shri Krishna, even if we have any material enjoyment. And then Mahaprabhu doesn't stop. Mahaprabhu wants to give a praman for this. And then he gives the praman of Dhruva Maharaj, that how even Dhruva Maharaj, when he went to worship Lord Narayan, the eternal desire that he had initially was to have a kingdom greater than that of his great-grandfather. But as soon as the conch of Lord Krishna touched the head of Dhruva Maharaj, incessant, deep, sincere, dedicated prayers were coming out. And he was telling Lord Krishna that, oh my Lord, I was seeking an opulent material position. I was performing severe types of penance and austerity, but now I have got you. And you are very difficult even to be approached by the great demigods. So what I was searching previously, initially when I started, is the piece of glass. But instead now I have found the most valuable jewel. So I am very much satisfied. So this is how Krishna takes care. Krishna gives the nectar of his lotus feet so to whosoever one approaches. So even if we go for some material enjoyment, go to Krishna, knock his door, and Krishna will take care, will give whatever is suitable and will not give which is not suitable or conducive for our bhakti. And then Mahaprabhu continues, Samsara bhramite kona bhagya ke hatare nadira pravehena kashtha lagatere. Beautiful verse, and he says that actually this conditioned soul is wandering through different planets of the universe. So they are entering into different species, and it's just like a piece of log is been floating in the ocean. So is there any possibility for that log to come and strike the bank and then come and reach that bank? Like it looks like quite impossible. right? Because in this ocean of nascence, we are simply wandering. So what is the possibility for us to reach to a bank and save ourselves? It's not. But then Mahaprabhu says, Kona bhagya kara samsara shaya mukhahaya sadhu sange tabe Krishna rati upajaya. Yes, there is a possibility for that log also to strike the bank and be saved and not being carried by the waves of that river. But it's only by the good fortune that when one comes in contact with the pure devotee, associate with the pure devotee, then, that attraction for Krishna gets awakened. So when a conditioned soul becomes a devotee of Krishna or the Lord, by his causeless mercy, he trains him in two ways. And what are the two ways will be the conclusion of this chapter. And the two ways that Mahaprabhu tells Sanatan Goswami, that when the jiva comes in contact with a pure devotee and surrender unto the Supreme Lord, then the Lord trains that devotees in two ways. First is through as Chaitya Guru, as super soul, inside, within, he instructs, he trains that jiva. And from outside, as a representative, as a spiritual master who is the representative of Krishna, he trains him outside. Because Krishna is situated as the Chaitya Guru in the heart of every living entity. And as Krishna's representative, spiritual master outside. So from within, the jiva gets guidance from the super soul, from the Paramatma, and from externally, from outside, he gets the guidance from a spiritual master. So therefore, Mahaprabhu says that by associating with a devotee, one awakens his faith in devotional service. And because of that devotional service, the dormant love for Lord Shri Krishna, which is there in the heart of the jiva, it gets awakened. And then Mahaprabhu says the famous verse, before that he says, Mahat Kripa Bina Kone Karme Bhakti Naya, Krishna Bhakti Dure Raho Samsara Nahishaya. So what he says that unless one is favored by a pure devotee, one cannot attain the platform of devotional service. What to say about Krishna Bhakti? One cannot be relieved from this existence of material nascence. So how important it is. So time and again, this association with the pure devotees has been highlighted out in this entire chapter. And what to talk about this entire chapter, our entire philosophy is based upon the association of a pure devotee. Even Rupa Goswami, in his entire Nectar of Devotion, when he started off the 64 limbs of bhakti, the first limb he quotes, that it is you take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Second is take initiation. Third limb is serve that spiritual master, and render some service unto spiritual master. So therefore Mahaprabhu says that Mahat Kripa Bina, without the Kripa, without the mercy of the Mahatmas or the great souls, you cannot attain Krishna Bhakti. And forget about Krishna Bhakti. To get yourself relieved from this bondage of material existence is also impossible. And then Mahaprabhu says that Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Koy, Sarva Shastra Koy, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. That Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha. This is the only thing that Sarva Shastra Koy, the entire Vedic literature proclaims. Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, even a little if you get Sarva Siddhi Hoy, that's the attainment of everything. And in this regard, Mahaprabhu again gives praman, and he gives praman from the 5th canto, that is the conversation between Jada Bharat and King Rahuguna, who is the ruler of the Sindhu province. And at that time when King Rahuguna, he experienced that surprise upon seeing Bharat's Maharaj, Jada Bharat's actually, the spiritual advancement. So there was a conversation between Jada Bharat and Rahuguna, and that time Jada Bharat, he quote, Rahugunatai tapasa nayati. I'm sorry, there was some call. So he says, Rahugunaitai tapasa nayati, na chejya nirvapanad grahadva, na chandamsa naiva jalangi surya, vina mahat pado rajo abhishekam. So he says, O King Raguna, even if you are involved in all kind of tapasya, it won't help. And if you are performing gorgeous worship of deity services, it won't help. By strictly following some rules and regulations, it won't help. By scrutinizingly studying the Vedas, won't help. The devotional service is not possible with all this. Devotional service is only possible when one takes the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee and smear his own body with that dust. So how important it is to smear the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee and smear ourselves, our entire body with that dust, is the actually process by which we can come in contact with a pure devotee and finally attain to devotional service. So that Jada Bharat says, and we all know, it says, right? Bhakta pada dhuli ar bhakta pada jal, bhakta bhukte avasheshatina mahabal. Bhakta dhuli ar, the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. Bhakta pada jal, the water that has washed the lotus feet of a pure devotee. Bhakta bhukte avashesha, what he has honored and the remnants of the food that is left. If we honor all these three, Tina Mahabal, that's the only strength to perform devotional service. Now, smearing ourselves with the dust of lotus feet, does it mean literally? Yes. Literally, if we get a chance, we should smear our body, ourselves with the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. But also, figuratively also, it has a meaning, that is the following the instructions of that pure devotee. So it has both. Yes, literally also we should smear, but figuratively also, we should follow the instructions of the spiritual master. And then Mahaprabhu says that this is the conclusion that was also given to Arjuna. Manmana madbhavakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vishyasi satyam te parityajani priyasmite. That, I promise this, that I'll take care, but always think of me, become my devotee, offer homage unto me, and thus you will come to me. And I promise this, Krishna proclaims in Bhagavad Gita. But how can we have that? That can be only developed through Shraddha. Through Shraddha, it's the only possibility when we perform devotional service. So devotional service has to be performed unto Lord Shri Krishna with Shraddha, with some faith. And performing devotional service unto Lord Shri Krishna is just like watering the roots. When we water the roots of a plant, what happened? The entire plant gets nourished. We don't give water separately to twigs or to leaves or to flowers. No, we just water the roots and the entire plant gets nourished. Now, similarly with our hands also, our hands are involved in eating. They are the instrument of taking the food, putting into our mouth so that our stomach is nourished. And when the stomach is nourished, the entire body is nourished. Now, if hands start thinking, okay, now here is the food, let me just, rub it in my own self. Why should I put it in the mouth? It's me, I am the instrument. Let me only enjoy. What will happen? The food will not go in the mouth. Do you think the hands will be nourished? No. So worshipping Lord Shri Krishna, Manmana Bhakto, is worshipping Lord Shri Krishna, which is the watering the root. Don't worry about anything else. Approach Lord Shri Krishna in whatever possible way. Render some service unto him. So this way, the entire system will be nourished. But then Krishna says that actually everything has to be, Mahaprabhu says that everything has to be performed with faith, faith, everything has to be followed. And in this regard of faith, Mahaprabhu gives the description of who is a Kanishta Adhikari, who is a Madhyam Adhikari, and who is a Uttama Adhikari. So on basis of faith, on basis of chanting, different elaborate way Mahaprabhu has explained. And that will be the topic for tomorrow. That is, the title is devotee, that who is a devotee, right? And that Mahaprabhu will explain in the next chapter about who is a Kanishta Adhikari, who is a Madhyam Adhikari, and who is a Uttama Adhikari. So for now, we'll stop here. I know I took 10 to 15 minutes extra. It was a pretty long chapter, so please forgive me for that. So we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai. Very, very, very beautiful class, Mataji. It was so good. It was so good. Thank you so much. I don't have any questions, but thank you for the very sweet explanations. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your presence.
Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you for an excellent class. So much information. I realize how much I really appreciate teachings of Lord Chaitanya more and more, because like you said, we have the essence of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So everything that we've read before, there's so much in there, but now we see it all. It's almost like, what is it called? What is it called when you have the books, condensed, well, it's condensed version, but it's like the outline, right? The outline, a cheat sheet for us. If we need to refer to anything, it's all in here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Paneshwari Mataji. Thank you for always being there on call and giving your valuable association.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Mataji, very nice class. Actually, yesterday I was just telling Preeti that, TLC has been so technical and heavy for me personally. And I was just telling, wow, the next two classes, seem like a breath of fresh air, some kind of a respite in between all that technical, heavy load for me, at least personally speaking. I know there are so many pundits on this group, but at least for me, Mataji, I was like thinking something I can understand without referring and trying to read up here and there. So thank you, Mataji, for that little break you gave us. I so much appreciate it. But like you said, it's easier said than done. But at least something I could relate to, Mataji, after so long time. So I'm so thankful to you for that. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Suksagri Mataji. Yes, we can all relate to it, but the previous topics are equally important, because how you can relate it to Krishna unless and until you recognize the position of Krishna. So Mahaprabhu first want to tell that whom I'm talking about. I'm talking about that Supreme Lord who has this unlimited forms. So he want to establish, the position of Krishna. And once he has established and describing his opulence and beauty, then Mahaprabhu says, now get attracted to Krishna. And the only process is through bhakti. So yes, those classes were really technical, but being in, as a sadhaka stage, we should really know in and out about all those also. So that those topics are equally important, because Prabhupada says, right, that these books are not the ordinary books, these are the law books. So you should show some interest about knowing that also. But I agree that it was very, very technical. But at the same time, we should not be afraid of it, and we should continue studying more and more about it. Thank you.
Absolutely, Mataji. Without Sambandha, I don't know if the other things we can do. So like you rightly said, though, it was very difficult, at least for me to understand, but at least making an attempt to hear, classes from so nice devotees who presented with so much sincerity, and they made nice PowerPoint presentations, things to make all those things easier. At least I came to know that these things exist. And so I'm so grateful for all these classes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very, very beautiful, beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you so much for this nice class. As Sakari Mataji was saying, it's easy to digest. And even yesterday's class also was not heavy for me. I don't know, for some reason it was okay. Today's also it is okay, Mataji. And very nicely explained how the free will, if you are using the free will for Krishna, then that is a perfect thing. If you are not using that, then we are in Maya. And very beautifully said, Mataji, Abhidaya, Samandha, Abhidaya, Prayojana, everything is chanting, starts the relation and everything, that's finally that the love you get is also Krishna Prema through the chanting itself. It's very beautifully explained, and only by surrendering to the spiritual master, to the pure devotees, and taking their lotus dust is the only way for us to go to back. And it is very, very nicely explained, Mataji. And that thing like you told about Krishna is a sun and Maya is a darkness. If Krishna is there, there is no need or a chance of Maya. And you're going to Krishna and you're asking for ashtray. Like the other day when I was hearing the Guru Maharaj class, he was telling, you're going to Millennium and begging, can you give your ashtray? I want it. So what is that? We are, but sometimes I also feel like that I'm going to Krishna and I'm asking for a material desire, which is no use. That you were giving very nice example of lifting up the pile of the sticks onto the head. That is nothing, he could have given everything for us. So that is what we should ask for, the pure devotion to the Lord, and always, licking the nectar of his lotus feet. Hari Bol, Mataji. Very, very beautiful class. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. But truly speaking, I was simply repeating from Caitanya Charitamrita.
Very nice, Mataji. Easy to understand, Mataji. So simple class. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. So sweet and so very, very easy to understand, Mataji. Thanks for this wonderful class, Mataji. And at one point while listening, Mataji, I got a question. So at one point you're telling, so our Gnanis and Karmis, they are not in the position of taking this Krishna consciousness, and they cannot, and for them whatever they are doing, it is of no point. So in those kind of categories of people, how to make them to have the taste of Krishna Bhakti, or how to awaken the Krishna Bhakti in those categories of people, Mataji?
Yeah, that's what Mahaprabhu said, that somehow or other, when they come in the contact of a pure devotee, then their life is successful. So even if they are on the Gyan Marg, Karma Marg, Dhyan Marg, Yoga Marg, whatever Marg they are, but if they come in the contact with a pure devotee, their life is successful, because they start developing those Sukriti, and after developing that Sukriti, they should work on it. Like when the seed is sown in their heart, then they have, now it's their duty to nurture the seed. If they don't consider that seed important, and they still go on to their Gyan Marg or Karma Marg or any other Marg, then that seed, what will happen? The seed will die eventually. Right? So once if they come in the contact, and it can be only possible by some Sukriti, whether it may be a Gyat Sukriti or maybe a Agyat Sukriti, that Sukriti is very, very important. When Prabhupada came, and all these hippies, they were asking that, oh Prabhupada, what was there, in us? Piety we have done in our past life, that you are giving us this bliss and this eternal bhakti to us. And Prabhupada said, it's because of all the good fortune, and I created that good fortune for you. Prabhupada made the arrangements that they come and chant, even if they are not chanting through their heart, even just for the enjoyment they are chanting, but they were chanting, they were dancing on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Prabhupada said, I gave you the good fortune. So when the devotees go out for books distribution, the devotees go out for Harinam, they give the opportunity for all those materialistic people who may be totally materialistic or maybe on some other mark, they get the opportunity to participate in that, or not participate, but at least hear that Mahamantra. So that way they get some Sukriti, which will yield results, maybe not now, next lifetime. So definitely that hope is there.
Okay, yeah, got it, Mataji. And another question at the same time, we also tell that we should not give this wonderful jewel of Harinam to people, those who are not interested or those who doesn't have faith. Then how to take this, Mataji, in this lesson? Like,
that offense is different. The ninth offense we're talking about is to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
mm,
The glories of the holy name doesn't mean about just the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It's just that you don't instruct them about the process or about this sambandha, abhidya, or prayojana. You don't elaborately tell them. Why? Because in one conversation, if you find out that there is a counter argument that is coming, better stop yourself. Just feed prasadam. Prasadam will work miracles, right? But because they are faithless, they don't want to hear, leave them. Just leave them, give them, send them off with some prasadam, and that's it. So that is an offense if you keep on telling them. Other person is not interested and you are telling, see, this is the sambandha. You should develop that sambandha. This is the abhidya process. Ultimately, you all have to go to Golok Vrindavan. That is your spiritual destination. Well, another person is not eagerly hearing. He is faithless. What's the point of wasting your time? Because when we are telling all this, the other person is simply saying, well, what nonsense they are telling. So when our preaching is considered as nonsense for the other person's spiritual advancement goes down. So we become the instrument for their spiritual advancement to go down. So therefore, that is considered to be an offense. But when we go out on the street and chant the holy name, or when we go and then knock at the door of everybody and we tell them, please take the books, or at least chant Maha Mantra once, and if they reciprocate, why not? But yes, there are few people who shut the door on your face. Let it go. Let it go. Seriously. There is no point in wasting your time and their time. Let them be on their own. Maybe if not you, somebody else, they may get inspired through somebody else. So that equation, leave it between Krishna and them. So don't consider this ninth offense to be just chanting. When we are going on Sankirtan, we are telling everybody to chant. When we are going for book distribution, we are telling everybody. But if they are reciprocative, they'll respond.
Yes, got it, Mataji. Got it. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, I have some chat messages, Mataji, I would like to read for you.
Mataji, they are all simply saying thank you, but there is no question as such.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. Okay. Okay, so
thank you everybody who is appreciating for the class. Really indebted and grateful to all of you. But trust me, it is all coming from our Guru Vargas. Nothing is mine. So all glories to them.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Koti Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Mataji, so you are so involved. Like yesterday, Priti Vilasani is explaining all the leelas. We hear lots of time, Mataji, but still वो रसा अंदर से आता है, Mataji. And ये आज आपने बताया ब्रह्मांड प्रमिते कौन भाग्य जीवन गुरु कृष्ण प्रसाद पाए भक्ति लता बीज. We get the भक्ति लता बीज, पर उसमें पानी नहीं डालेंगे. That water is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. उसको लाइट नहीं देंगे तो उसका कोई मीनिंग नहीं है. एंड दैट लाइट एंड दैट वाटर इज हियरिंग कृष्ण कथा. माताजी, जब हम माताजी पढ़ने बैठते, मैं मेरी बात करती हूँ, तो माताजी वो इतना क्लियर नहीं आता है, बी ऑनेस्ट माताजी. पर जब हम शुद्ध वैष्णव के लोटस फीट से हम सुनते हैं माताजी कृष्ण कथा, तो वो एकदम क्लियर हो जाता है. दैट इज द मर्सी, बिकॉज दैट साधना इज सो स्ट्रॉन्ग. तो आप इतनी अच्छी तरह माताजी आज कृष्ण कथा कह रहे थे. इवन नॉट ओनली वी हियर माताजी, consciously or unconsciously, or all family member are hearing Krishna Katha, and they also get the benefit of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani's mercy. And lotus feet of वैष्णव के लोटस फीट बहुत दुर्लभ होते हैं माताजी. वो कोई कर्म के हिसाब से ऐसे कृष्ण कथा सुननी मिलती है. टुडे जी आमिन्द्र प्रभु said that not only we have to hear, but we have to again hear and make a notes, so that it's fit in our mind so that we can share with other Vaishnava. Ananta Koti Dandavat Pranam Kirtida Sundari Mataji, Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai. Thank you Mataji. कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम. आपने वो जो पूरा हार्ड पार्ट था वो पूरा इजी बना दिया माता जी. हरि हरि गौरांग का दंडवत माता जी.
बहुत इजी अप्रोच करा है, महाप्रभु ने बहुत अच्छे से समझाया है. So it's all glories to Mahaprabhu that he took it in such a beautiful way. And also he was giving the pramanas from various scriptures. So all glories to Mahaprabhu that he made the actual fruit plate ready for all of us to honor. So all glories to him. And yes, Mataji, as you said, that just hearing won't help. Hearing, making notes, and then sharing. All these three things have to go hand in hand. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so yes, Parima Mataji, do you want to say something?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I just wanted to thank you for your wonderful class. It rained nectar today from your mouth, and yesterday Priti Vilasini Mataji also gave us a shower of nectar with her Yashoda pastimes. So it has been so blissful listening to you, both of you, Amarendra Prabhu, everybody, Adi Gadadhar Prabhuji. It's been like Krishna is showering his mercy on us, Mataji. So thank you so much, and Dandavat pranams to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for always being there on call. Okay, it's already 12:26, and Shama Supriya Mataji, you can take over. But before she takes over, I just have one announcement to make. Tomorrow, Thursday, we will continue with the 12th chapter of Teachings of Lord Chaitanya by Jayanand Gauranga Prabhu. And as soon as he's done with the class, maybe 12:30 EST timings, I don't know how much time will he take. But as soon as we are done and we are done with the question and answers, please stay on the call, because tomorrow we will be honoring Her Grace Preeti Vilasini's Mataji's Prabhu, Jagannath Prabhu, because it's been an year that he went to his Nitya Leela and he left us. So we will be honoring him and by singing few Vaishnava bhajans. So you all can prepare, and at least for 1 hour, we'll try to sing some Vaishnava bhajans. Those who are really good singer, those who can really with emotions can sing some Vaishnava bhajans. That will be really, really wonderful. So for an hour or so, we will sing some Vaishnava bhajans to honor Prabhu. And
It is afternoon class, afternoon class.
Afternoon, mid-morning class only. So Jayanand Prabhu will be giving the class. We are not canceling the class. And as soon as he's done with it, maybe 12:15 or whatever time. So after that, for 1 hour on this conference call, Zoom conference call only, we'll sing some Vaishnava bhajans. Preeti Vilasini Mataji will be there on call. So we'll honor Prabhu. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Yes,
Sure, Mataji. Sure. Mataji, before ending, I have one question regarding tomorrow's Bhishma Panchaka and last day of our Kartik month. So how to end our fast, Mataji? Like we should end our fast in the night or in the afternoon? How, Mataji?
For this Kartik month, the Bhishma Panchaka, I don't know, everybody has their own vows, but the normal, like, again, I'm just saying it, don't take it as a black and white, but normal protocol is that last day we fast for the entire day, and only after seeing the Purnima, the full moon, because tomorrow is Purnima. So after seeing that full moon, we break the fast. We break the fast in such a way that whatever vows that have been taken, like somebody leaves some sweets the entire month, somebody leaves rice the entire month. So make sure on that night we eat those sweets and we eat rice or whatever we have left. We honor that and we break our fast. Because from day after, again, the Caitanya Vrat starts.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow is the day, like after seeing the full moon, because tomorrow is also a day where Krishna performs the Rasa Leela. So after seeing the full moon, we break the fast. So this is the protocol is, but those who cannot because of some health issues, That's fine. You can honor water, you can take some Ekadashi prasadam, you can take some fruits, but later at night you can break the fast. But it depends how everybody is following their Bhishma Panchaka or how did they do their Kartik. So they know what they did. So accordingly they can do.
And Mataji, here in our Houston, in our area, they are telling that there's a tomorrow lunar eclipse.
Yeah, even I heard that tomorrow is a lunar eclipse.
Our Hindu temples are everything are closing by evening 7. So I'm in dilemma how to break our fast and what to do.
It says it's a Krishna Rasa Yatra, Tulasi Shaligram Vivaha, last day of Bhishma Panchaka. I don't know if it is lunar eclipse, and then make sure you do your Damodar before that.
Mm-hmm.
Put some tulsi leaves and some milk, yogurt, or cream, whatever you have in your refrigerator. And but still, even if it's a lunar eclipse, I'm pretty sure that moon will be visible for some time, maybe late or maybe quite early. I don't know what's the time for the lunar eclipses, so that you can check the place you are in, see how it goes.
Okay.
If it works, then Krishna, see Krishna's moon-like face and break your fast.
Jai, wonderful. Wonderful.
Very
Sure,
good,
Mataji.
Mataji. Very nice.
Very nice.
Mataji, can you please explain about the Katyani work 2-3 minutes? If you're not tired.
It's a Caitanya is the name of a goddess Durga. Means the devotees, especially the gopis, they pray to Mother Caitanya so that they can get Krishna as their husband. So the entire month they will bathe, they will wake up early in the morning, they'll worship Mother Caitanya, and but their motive of worshipping is not some material gain, but just to have Krishna as their husband. So this is how the gopis pray, and they keep the vrata for this entire month. But again, devotees, those, especially those who are unmarried and are looking for their marriage and not getting the proper, the partner, then they definitely keep this vrata.
Mataji, Hari Bol
Mataji, you're frozen, Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were saying keep this vrata. After that, you were
frozen.
Mataji.
I just said that, but devotees normally don't follow as such. But if you want to keep, there is no harm. But that desire should be the love of God. Just desire not to attain Krishna as your husband, but attaining Krishna's lotus feet. That should be the mood. But otherwise, we can always take it easy.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Or maybe you or yourself, you can tell, because I'm pretty sure that His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj has strict things on these Katyani vratas and Bhishma Panchaka and Kartik vrata.
Mataji, one thing about Bhishma vrata ending is like we have to make the sweet rice, right? For the moon, they say that you have to put to the moon, and next day morning you honor it. You put near the window where the moon is visible. So moon rays fall on that sweet rice, and that is the real prema of Krishna. And then next day morning you honor it. That's the sweet rice is the main thing that you can make it on breakfast day, and you honor the Vaishnava, and then you accept it. Yeah, that's just wanted to add that point, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Vinta Mataji. Okay, Mataji. So once again, thanks you so much, Mataji, for your wonderful class and association, Mataji, as always. So with this note, I would like to pay my obeisances to you and all the devotees on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya ki jai. Our Grace Kirtida Mataji ki jai. Jai. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for beautiful class. Hari Bol.
Yeah, very, very